Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Senator, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 105th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We smoke our first RG and discuss the marca's long history. We share our favorite cold weather smoking setups. We discuss Cuban blending decisions on new cigars, and we open a listener gift, all among a variety of other things for the next 90 minutes. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair 12-year aged Aberlour Scotch with Rafael González, Coronas de Lonsdales. A Hermosos number 4 tonight from Cuba is the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales. It's a 48 ring gauge cigar by 5 inches. And boys, this cigar
is neither a Corona or a Lonsdale.
And it is ugly as hell.
Wow. I think it's ruggedly handsome.
How's this called a Corona or a
de Lonsdale? Yeah, I don't get it.
Get that?
It's a Corona Extra. I guess that's where the Corona piece of it comes from. But Coronas de Lonsdales makes no sense to me. I don't understand.
Just call it a Hermoso.
Hermosos number 4.
Robusto.
What is so ugly about this cigar other than the band?
I'm sorry. Can I give a dissertation, please?
Go ahead.
I hope we have enough time for this.
Yeah, we do.
This is easily the ugliest Cuban cigar I have ever had.
That's what I'm saying.
Every single seam is visible. Every vein is visible. The roll is very tightly packed. I'm already worried about the draw. And this label has got to be the cheap. I feel like on my computer, on an inkjet printer, I can probably make something nicer than this.
You know, I thought this was a Sancho Panza band for a second.
That's exactly what I thought.
It's very similar.
It has more veins than on my leg. It looks like varicose veins on this fucking.
And that ain't good.
I know.
What about the hair? We leave it.
Oh, boy.
It's ruggedly handsome.
I think everything about this
4.2.
Everything about this cigar is not impressing me visually.
Well,
when you're paying for a cigar, I think when you're paying for a cigar, you want it to.
How much are these?
About $20.
Oh, that's
18, $20.
Not cheap.
There's nothing Cuban under $20.
That's
these
true.
Days. Nothing.
It's nice on the nose. The foot smells great.
It does smell good.
And I like the wrapper.
Let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're getting on the cold draw and the wrapper. I'm hopeful. I'm a little nervous because it does seem heavy in the hand.
Oh, the cold draw is very nice. I get a lot of fruit here.
A little bit of resistance for me on the cold draw.
Me too.
Pretty nice, though.
Once you light it, it will open up.
I hope so.
Dry fruit.
Mm-hmm.
A touch of cocoa.
Touch of cocoa, touch of cedar.
Which we've had on many other cigars. Yeah. But it's very nice.
All right, boys, let's light this thing. The Rafael González.
Dare I say citrus on the draw?
Yeah, that's where I get the dry fruit.
Slight citrus. No.
Maybe.
You just didn't want to say that word.
I won't ever say it again.
So we're lighting the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales. Again, it's a Hermosos number 4. Pretty popular size in Cuban cigars. 48 ring gauge by 5 inches. Other cigars in this size, of course, are the El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme.
Oh, on the light, this is so good.
What year is this?
First edition, April 2023.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Just the
This cigar is
first
about-
draw of this tasted like it has
Age?
some age at least.
It's actually delicious at the moment. It's
This is
very
about
good.
6 months old.
Very good.
Yeah, this is nice on the light.
That's really good.
Yeah.
It does have that kind of,
Like just a little mustiness, like with an aged cigar.
there is.
I mean, dare I say it reminds me of the Turquinos very, very faintly. Just a little bit.
The only thing I do like these have a pretty dark wrapper.
They do.
Almost a Maduro.
Yeah,
Unusual for a
looks
Cuban.
New World.
I would say it's more like Monty-esque.
That's true.
It does have a little bit of
A
a
little
Monty
Monty twang.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Right?
I like that.
That's
I can see
fair. Fair.
So some of the other Hermosos number 4s in the catalog are obviously probably our favorite one is the El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme. Hoyo de Monterrey had an Anahados, the Hermosos number 4. And then also the St. Louis Rey Regios that we did sometime in 2022 with Dan Sashini. That's a Hermosos. And finally, in regular production, is the Vegas Robena Famosos, which is another cigar that we have to do, but pretty popular size in the line.
I like it so far.
I do too.
I'm shocked.
Good flavor.
I really like the flavor notes.
Yeah, it's really good.
You don't expect this from an ugly cigar.
You don't
But
expect this
it's-
from a Rafael González. I mean, this is the first Rafael González we've done on the pod.
Has anyone in the room ever had any
Yeah.
of their cigars?
Yes.
You have to.
So we'll get into a little bit of their history in a minute.
Not
So-
in this ring gauge. I've had a smaller, like a Panatella.
Oh, yeah. I bet
Very
that's
small,
good.
but that's like, it's like a super aged box. It was cheap. It's like $200. These cigars used to be very cheap. This whole brand was
Very much budget.
Very inexpensive budget brand for Habanos.
And I think it still is. I mean, they don't really give the brand much attention. It just recently got a complete overhaul of the bands and the boxes. And
These are new?
Yeah, these are new. This
Excellent
is as
selection.
of 2022.
I mean, there's no way that the old bands looked worse than this. I'm sure they were better.
They were lighter in color. The oval on this is a little different than before, from what I remember. It's a little lighter brown color.
Yeah, they just changed the band. It's a shinier brown now. It used to be like a more matte kind of
It was dull.
dull brown.
I just say that because it's a shame. I feel like I go back to the Kawaba episode we did, the Salamone. All of us sat there and we were saying that we actually enjoyed that cigar, but it's just like the presentation, like the bands are not particularly nice that Kawaba has. The boxes aren't really that great, but we thought it was a great cigar. You just kind of would hope that these brands that kind of get pushed aside or ignored for the big global brands, that they would invest just a little bit more. I mean, the fact that they just rebranded this essentially, I mean, they obviously
this.
had the
They
money.
went to this.
This is what they did. It's like they could have. This could look so much more elegant,
Yeah.
and it's actually smoking really well, which is why it's disappointing to me. It should just be presented better.
Well, red and yellow in a band is expensive.
One color print's a lot cheaper.
Hershey color brown.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Budget.
It's interesting with the cigars, talking about a rebrand. It's almost like they're going across the catalog. We've seen it with Upman. We've seen it with Vegas Robena. They took Don Alejandro Robena's image off the box. I think what they're trying to do is make the images on the physical boxes smaller so that they can accommodate the overload of health stickers
Warnings.
from around the world. So, these health stickers, they're almost, a lot of times if you look at the back of a box, you'll see it's been stamped with a box code 2 or 3 times. And that's just them hedging when those stickers are put on by the, various government agencies at import, that you're still going to be able to see the box code or the brand or the mark or whatever, the Vitola, whatever it is. So I think that was the impetus for rebranding Rafael González, was no more than just trying to accommodate for those health stickers. Because I got a box last week, a cigar we didn't do yet. The entire back is a dead fetus.
Oh, God.
The entire thing. I can't even see the box code. The entire back of the 10 count box is a.
Can you
It's a
tell
great,
us?
it's a great warning. All of us men that have can carry babies. Great warning.
What can you tell us the origin of the country it came from?
I don't know, actually.
It'd be interesting.
I
Mexico's
don't
bad
know.
with that.
Mexico's really
They
bad.
are.
I'll have to look at the box. When we smoke that cigar,
They put the black lung on the back box.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
The irony that like Mexico is focusing on labeling on cigar boxes. Meanwhile, they've got like drugs pouring in left and right. to
Yeah,
other
people are
countries.
hanging off of bridges every day.
Yep.
So, boys, what are you getting on this cigar, flavor note wise?
Well,
Are you getting cocoa?
yeah.
This is like chocolate milk.
Cocoa, coffee, dry fruit.
That's why it
These are-
reminded me of the Monty number 3. Kind of with the similar milk chocolate, cocoa notes,
Interesting.
a little bit of dried fruit.
Yeah. Getting all 3 of those.
Yeah.
The finish on mine, and I'm not sure if it's a product of my tighter draw or just where I'm at in it, but
I'm going to guess. Is it slightly mineral?
it's minerally
Very
and,
slight.
and like muted.
Nah.
Like it to me, mine right now is abrupt and not in a pleasant way.
I don't mind it.
So maybe
is-
it's just my cigar.
It might be because I'm not getting that.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
getting that either.
I
Yeah.
am getting a short finish, a little mineral, but and earth notes, which I don't mind
Yeah, I'm
for
getting
me.
the little bit of.
at the end.
I was going to say that it's surprising because I was going to say earthiness and saltiness a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
but it's minerality would explain that. Like that's a better word.
The retrohale is absolutely delicious.
Yeah, that's definitely
If
my
you've
favorite
tried
part
it.
of the cigar
Oh,
right now.
yeah.
It's floral. It kind of singes your nose in an interesting way.
In a good way.
Like it almost like that kind of feeling where you're like ready to sneeze.
Yeah.
You know, it's just kind of tingling the senses in your nose in a nice way.
Yes, it's just searing and burning all the nose hair you have.
Put that on the back of the box.
In a good way.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of just riling the senses.
I hear you.
Is that you telling me to stop talking now?
By the way, this marca was the marca that came out with the first ever Lonsdale.
Yeah.
Is that
Really?
true?
Right?
Wow.
Wow.
That's a merit.
It's been around since 1930.
Give us a little history on this, man.
Yeah, so introduced around 1928, 1930, like Rooster said, named after its founder, which is one of the few brands that's actually named after its founder, Rafael González. Obviously, there's other brands like Jose El Piedra and some of the other marcas.
Upman?
Upman, of course,
Mm-hmm.
have remnants of their founder's name, but most of them aren't. By 1936, it was owned by the Rey del Mundo company. So technically, this brand is a sister marca to El Rey del Mundo, which is interesting because we always find that that's another Habanos brand that's kind of ignored.
Yeah, I'm just
it's not
surprised.
celebrated like it should be.
I'm just surprised to hear that because I feel like the marcas are a world apart.
Mm.
I mean, none of the flavor notes you get in this, you
None.
get in any El Rey del Mundo. This
No.
is like, I think Rooster's comparison of this to like Monty is spot on. I don't
Yep.
view this at all in the El Rey
The
del
only
Mundo
thing I
camp.
capture in this that I get in that Schwa Supreme are the dry fruit. for
That's
me.
true.
Those two parallel.
And I'm sorry, as we were talking about the labels, the bands before, El
They're-
Rey del Mundo
They're
has
beautiful.
some beautiful
They're
bands.
beautiful.
They do. So this, boys, is I'm looking at Cuban Cigar website, by the way. That's the former band. So it's really not that much of a difference from the current one. I mean, it's just
incredible branding
Yeah.
going on there.
Really, they took a big risk, very imaginative, from light brown to dark brown.
Yeah.
Look at the bottom of your cigar, how dark it is. It's almost black.
Yeah. I
You
get
see that?
a marbling of that, but I see some of it. Yeah.
On the wrapper?
Yeah,
No.
here, right here.
Foot
on the
of your
ash,
ash.
on
Oh,
the, on the foot.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I've never seen that. It's always like gray. or
Although
something.
Pagoda's
This
is bright white.
Bright white.
Oh,
Ah.
yeah, his is
Yeah,
interesting.
well, his is fake.
No wonder it's tasting good.
So production, this was a global high-end luxury brand for about 30, 35 years. Ceased production in the early 1960s, not specific as to why. Resumed 5 years later in 1965. And then, like I said, produced alongside El Rey del Mundo, resumed its status as a luxury brand for Tabacuba. And today it's classified by Habanos in their other category of portfolio brands, which is kind of the lowest level. And it only has a few regular production cigars remaining. And none of them are terribly exciting.
How many?
Right now they have 4 regular production cigars. They have a Panatellas Extra, which is 37 ring gauge by 5. It's a short Panatella. They have Petit Coronas, 42 by 5 1/8. They have the Perlas, which are 40 ring gauge by 4. And they have this newest release, which is the Coronas de Lonsdales, 48 ring gauge by 5-inch Hermosos number 4. So these come in a pretty plain, very similar to D4
10 count.
semi-boit nature box of 10 cigars, and that's the only format they come in.
I happen to love that format.
Yeah, I think they're great.
Yeah.
And I just love that they're not stuffed in a dress box.
Yeah.
You know?
Room to breathe.
Yeah. And they were announced in 2021 and came out this year. So this is the first production run of these cigars. It was early 23.
The way it's tasting now, I'd get a box of these. At that price?
Yeah, we'll see how it performs. Mine is burning a lot of combustion coming off mine. Let's say that.
Excellent.
I'm
Well, I
loving
see
the
that.
combustion off
Yeah.
this. But it's burning very slowly.
Sharp
Like,
line
we're,
as well.
we're 15 minutes in
Because it's packed.
Very densely
I
packed.
agree, but in a good way.
in a good way.
Very good way.
I'm happy with it because, when you're smoking a cigar of this size, often my eye says, I wish there was more there. So if this gives us, hour 15, hour 30,
Mhm.
I'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, and honestly, the aroma at the burn line, that's a pretty good test for me personally, because if it smells bitter, it's probably not that great of a cigar and it won't finish well. This is really pleasant, honestly.
So Rafael González has had a lot of discontinued cigars. Most of them were discontinued in the mid 2000s, 2006, 2008, 2010. They had a lot of them. Like Rooster said, they had a very popular Lonsdales discontinued in 2006. They have a really interesting size that I saw that I wanted to mention. It was called the Slenderella.
Hmm.
Slim Panatella, 28 ring gauge by almost 7 inches long. 28 by 6 7/8.
It's like a pencil.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Pretty
a
wild.
wrapper.
Not fun to smoke.
And then, of course, this is a brand that's used quite a bit for regional editions. Recently there's 3 of them that have been produced. One for Alemania, Asia
Germany.
Pacific, and the Baltics. You don't really hear much about this marca, but if you can get a cigar that's fairly easy to get,
Good price.
knock on wood, I don't want to say that too prematurely, but for a reasonable price,
I'm really enjoying this cigar, guys.
me too. The finish has improved for me. It's not as muted as it was, so I think maybe I got through that section that was messed up. I mean, it's a young cigar, so I have to give it a little bit of breathing room.
You tell me, Connoisseur Corner, is this smoking like a young cigar? Because I don't think so.
It's really not.
No,
I mean, I think it's smoking like at least it's got 2 to 3 years of age on
exactly.
it. Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think the ash is so excellent. I can see every layer. Like,
Dude,
if you really
it's
look
sharp. It's sharp.
At it. Yeah.
Very sharp.
I feel like I'm getting hints of other Cuban Robustos. This isn't a Robusto, but I feel like I'm getting hints of Ras, touch of D4, like a
Yeah.
touch of Monty.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting a little bit of
A little bit
everything.
of schwa.
That I think the citrus is there in
Tiny
Schwa.
bit. Yep.
It is surprisingly complex
Mhm.
for its age.
Yeah. Imagine with 5 years of age in your tower.
Yeah. Mine's not burning perfect, but
You
it's
can
not-
touch it up.
Yeah. I did. Touch it up again a little bit.
I'll give you permission.
Thanks, man. Remember, oxygen oxidizes.
Yes, it does.
Oh boy.
Your oxidization is unbalanced right now. Okay.
By the way, the listeners loved
It just-
oxygen oxidizes.
Yes,
just
I
so
saw the
fresh in my
Instagram
mind.
post. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
We got a lot of memes sent our way. We had Bam Bam, the cartoon Bam Bam with the stick, with the bubble. Oxygen oxidizes.
Oh boy,
Merchandise requests.
that's your fault, Pagoda. It's okay. I take it as love.
It's all love.
Oh yeah.
It all is. So, boys, there's some other new Habanos releases that I wanted to talk about. We'll start with a new regional from Por Larrañaga. This one's interesting. It's a Spanish regional. It's called a Leonis. The reason why I bring it up on the podcast, 2 reasons. Number one, it's a Lonsdale, 42 by 6 1/10 inches, 155 millimeters, which Lonsdale we love.
I've seen. So I follow CA on LinkedIn, so I get their feeds and their updates. That looks like a beautiful, beautiful cigar.
They do make a Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Which is that's a Lancero, right?
I think
it?
it's a little smaller than a Lancero.
Is it?
Yeah. But the reason why I also bring this up is for a regional edition, the pricing is set at $20 a cigar. So
I want to get a box of those.
finally, it seems that Habanos is putting out a new regional
Tranquilo. Tranquilo.
with a bit of a reasonable pricing strategy. $20 a stick.
That's incredible.
You're not finding that in anything they're doing.
Yeah.
But that's the MSRP. By the time it gets out, we get it. It's going to be more.
$38.
With the Chinese premium.
So that's also going to come in a 10 count box, similar to this, the Semi-Boit Nature box with the little clasp on it. And then the other one, boys, we did the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure #1 a couple episodes ago.
Can you call us men?
men was not great.
What pronouns would you like him to use, Rooster?
Abuela.
Nice tee up there. So this one's interesting. Hoyo de Monterey is coming out with the Epicure number 3, which is a Petite Bellicoso, 54 ring gauge by 4 7/8 inches,
Oof.
which is a very interesting size.
Yeah, it's like the Mag 54 with the pyramid
With
top.
with the Bellicoso top on it.
Wow.
So they're going to release that. That'll retail apparently for about $21-22 a cigar.
I'm sure it'll be plugged.
And and so that'll be the 8th cigar in the Epicure line from Hoyo. The 1, 2, 3, the Especial, the Deluxe, the Double Epicure, which I've never had, an Edición Limitada from 2013 called the Gran Epicure, the Reserva Cosecha Epicure number 2 from 2012. So I didn't realize, even when we were recording it, how many cigars, until you see it in a list like that, actually have the Epicure name on it. And I don't know. I really don't celebrate that marca, that any of those Vitolas that we've had. We've done the Epicure number 1 and 2 on the podcast.
Well,
And,
Habanos does.
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they keep coming out with new stuff.
So do you guys still have any Hoyo Epi 1s, 2s in your collection?
Yeah,
You do, right?
Epi 2s.
Okay. I've got a box of Epi 1s.
I have a few Epi 2s,
Yeah.
and I don't reach for them. I don't think about them. I don't look at them. I just kind of let them sit there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when my father-in-law comes over, he really loves that cigar. So we'll smoke them together, and it's very good. But as far as a Cuban Robusto goes, it's just never inserting itself into my rotation,
No.
you know?
Yeah. Is everyone's cigar like burning perfect?
It's beautiful.
Mine's burning pretty good.
Yeah, really well.
I have a really sharp line.
Yeah.
Yeah, these have been in my tower probably for 6 or 8 weeks.
Really? That long?
Yeah.
Damn, dog.
I got them pretty early.
Hmm.
But they're definitely starting to pop up, which is good.
Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to mention, the combustion like makes you feel you're smoking a new world.
It does. It
It's
does have
like-
that.
When I took my last puff, it was like it was very cloudy up here.
And even some of the flavor profile. I feel like this is one of those few Cubans that veers somewhat close to a lot of New Worlds in flavor profile.
I was thinking the Millennium Pyramid a bit,
Agree.
honestly.
Agree.
Just a bit.
Wow.
So where would you
Just a
guys
little bit.
Where would you guys put the body and strength profile right now in this?
I think it's pretty medium.
You're medium.
Yeah, I would say medium.
You know, because Rafael is pretty well known to be a mild
Mhm.
brand.
Where are you putting it?
I would say medium. I wouldn't say it's mild.
No. It's actually quite delicious. I'm loving this cigar right now.
No, me too.
No
This
complaints.
Is, like pleasantly surprised.
And
Getting-
because it's taking so long to get through it, it's a nice session cigar. You can sit after dinner, have one, and go home.
Yeah.
Pretty satisfying.
On the foot, I'm getting like the aroma, it's getting some spice now. I don't know if you get that.
I like it.
Yeah. It's nice.
Goes great with what we're drinking tonight.
Yeah, let's talk about that, boys. We're drinking 12-year aged Aberlour, a Speyside Scotch.
This was an early favorite in our gatherings, and I've never stopped hating this. I've never stopped loving this Scotch. It's fantastic.
And we did this on episode 12, almost 100 episodes ago.
Yeah.
It's double cask matured, finished in sherry oak casks. Like I said, comes from the Speyside region of Scotland.
You know how we got on Aberlour? So at our former lounge, Big John, who we know obviously tragically lost his wife recently.
Yes.
Um,
God bless John.
one Saturday afternoon, he'd always come there and he'd bring at least one full bottle and just like, I mean, he very generous, always sharing. And obviously we love Scotch, and a lot of the time on a Saturday early, I'd be there. And so he'd, pour something. He's like, oh, you got to try this if you haven't had it. I had never had Aberlour, and he poured me my first glass and I loved it. And then
You
picked up
bought it.
some and then just started passing it around, and everyone just kind of,
We had it in your garage.
Yeah.
During our garage days. That's the first time I've ever had it.
yeah.
And we recorded the podcast in his garage,
Yeah.
episode
Yeah.
12,
Yeah.
where we did this.
The garage episodes.
So that, this, as I was doing some research about it, what I thought it was interesting that I didn't even connect to, obviously 100 episodes ago, because I wasn't thinking this in depth about single malt Scotch, but they put this right next to flavor profile, pricing, where it sits in the, kind of lane of scotches right next to the Balvenie Doublewood 12
Yeah.
in flavor and price and whatnot. That's what everybody compared it to on all the review sites that I've seen is next to the Balvenie Doublewood.
Oh, really?
I-
I really like this, but I
disagree
I disagree.
with that coinciding spirit.
I mean, I guess where I see a part of where these people are coming from is this is an extremely sherry forward
Yeah.
scotch.
Yeah.
It's one of the sweeter ones. And Balvenie always is on the sweeter end of the
Yeah.
spectrum for scotch. So that I do think they have in common, but I think like everything Balvenie makes, including the 12-year Doublewood, has a bit more structure to it.
Mhm.
This is like very easy drinking,
Yes.
delicious, and just like straight sherry. I wouldn't call it overly complex,
I agree.
but it's like so satisfying. And honestly, the price point, I'm surprised to hear that.
How much is
For
this?
for years, the thing that I couldn't believe, I used to buy the Aberlour 12-year just within the last 3 years for like $45 a bottle,
Mhm.
which is an amazing price. I mean, maybe it's gone up obviously since. And it's funny, they rebranded the bottles because
It's different.
years ago they
Yeah.
looked totally different.
Yeah. For
So
me,
the Aberlour 12 now, Bam, sorry to
yeah,
interrupt.
it's okay.
The Aberlour 12 now, by the way, is $50 a bottle.
Okay, that's
So
not
it's
bad.
about
great deal.
it's a little bit of
$5
a
more.
little bit of an increase.
That's
Very
still
good
great
deal.
because I mean, Balvenie 12, Macallan, they're all like what, $65, $70?
Yeah.
Well, Macallan's sherry that's hiked in price quite a bit.
72.
I'm seeing it closer to
77,
80 now.
yeah, 80,
Yeah.
79.
I mean,
80.
that was $50.
Yeah. The blue box is cheaper, but the black box, the sherry
better.
oak cask is certainly better, and
Yeah.
that's the one that we drink. That's a little bit more.
I would see, for me, the 12 is not as sweet as this. The Caribbean cask, the 14-year, and this, for me, have very similar profiles.
I think
me.
that's true. And actually, a little bit of history on Aberlour that now is also making me understand why people are making that comparison. So Aberlour was established in 1879. It's in the Speyside region in Scotland, and their specialty is double cask maturation. Half basically in Oloroso sherry and half in American oak, which is just like the Balvenie
Balvenie.
Doublewood.
Yeah.
So I do see where that comparison's coming. And then since 1974, it's now owned by Pernod Ricard, who owns like everything. I mean, their like catalog is insane. They own Gizmo's favorite, Chivas, is owned by Pernod Ricard.
I'm never going to live that down.
Glenlivet they own. Havana Club, they actually own the brand.
Wow.
Outside of Cuba.
I think outside of
Yeah.
Cuba.
Cool.
Martel cognac we've done, they own that. Perrier Jouet, the champagne brand, they own. Jefferson's, Redbreast is actually owned by them. Green Spot, another one we've
That's
done.
a good one.
Damn,
Yeah.
that is a good one.
We
So
enjoyed
they've got
that.
they've got a pretty cool
Yeah.
catalog.
We keep that handy so that when we're going through some of the reviews, we can call back to how some of those rated
Mhm.
in previous episodes, because we just called out quite a few of the whiskeys that we
Sure.
like
So there aren't many whiskeys
and cognac.
scotches that I drink without ice. This one, I never put ice in it. I don't have ice in it tonight. It goes down beautifully because of the sherry finish.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
There's no ice
fantastic.
required.
Yeah.
See, the reason why I like to put ice in my scotch is I like my beverage to just have a little
Chill to it.
lower temperature.
All right. I'm agreeing.
I just like it like that. So I just put 2 small cubes. I didn't load it up, but it's very nice. And I think that not on purpose, but I think pairing with this cigar tonight, I actually think kind of works. I think this has a sweetness about it that the cigar doesn't have, and I think it's very complimentary.
Well, I think the dry fruit complements the drink back and vice versa.
I would say that this cigar to me is less sweet, more earthy
I
or
agree.
minerally.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I think that there's not this overwhelming sweetness going on for me with the scotch.
I agree, but I don't know that I would call this earthy. I think minerally, I'm with you there. I do think like the cocoa, it's not a dark chocolate. It's like a milk chocolate. So
Yeah.
I do get some sweet notes out of this cigar. And I think just the scotch helps accentuate that. Like you take a sip and then have the cigar. And I think while the sweetness is muted, it like really brings it out more.
Yeah.
And I think just rounds out the flavor.
And for the listener, if you can retrohale, if you get this cigar, that's a must try because you're capturing that cocoa right on the front of the retrohale. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I try. I just can't do it. I got to take lessons.
Yeah.
The retrohale?
Retrohaling lessons.
I'll submit it.
It just happens like on its own. But if I
If you
try
make
to
a-
do it, it won't. Like I
mean, I'm
want to
the
see
same.
smoke coming out of my nostrils.
That's called stage fright, by the way. Stage fright. It's okay.
Stage fright.
You got to do it without the microphones.
What?
Do it at home without the microphones. Give
Oh.
it a shot.
Doesn't
I
work.
tried it once. My sinuses don't help.
Yeah.
Look at Bam's ash.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Wow.
Great cigar.
So Bam Bam has about what, an inch and a half
quarter.
of ash?
Inch and a quarter.
Inch and a quarter of ash. It looks fantastic. And to think about how many cigars we've spent so much money on out of Cuba that smoke like shit and
don't have the structure that this has.
yeah, and even cigars that have age on them. Think about that Epicure #1 we had a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
which had 4 years of age on it, I think.
Yeah.
It's like something that's 6 months old. Like again, we go back to this thinking of the recent cigars that Habanos is putting out, the Turquinos, some of the other newer releases, the intentional blending to make them taste better young than they have in the past, I think is really working. Like
it is.
it's making that buying younger Cuban cigars, it's making that journey a lot easier and more palatable to me, especially when you're spending $20 on a cigar.
How are they doing that? I mean, it's
Well, I
the
was
same
about-
tobacco.
I was about to ask.
I mean, how can the blending change whether a cigar is going to taste fresh or aged? I don't get that.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you're putting tobacco in it that has more, nicotine or more oomph, or just needs more time to age.
I was just going to say, I mean, I feel like when we were in Cuba, I think the cigars where the youth shows right away, if there's a lot of Ligero in the cigar, that needs age.
Yeah, it's bitter.
That's the thing.
It's
It's,
very
like
bitter.
too aggressive and the age mellows that out. So like you get the strength without the bite. But a cigar that's low in Ligero, like I think the perfect example of this is the Turquinos.
Yeah.
We love that cigar.
Very
it was
low in
so
Ligero.
young
Yeah.
and there was not much Ligero at all there, which is why I think that could present so well so young.
And I think that the downside to that potentially, this is a hypothesis, is that I have a feeling that these cigars will not age as well as cigars with
I
more
agree with
oomph
you.
to them young.
I agree.
So like you think about pulling out an Upman 2 or a Partagas P2, those young are borderline unsmokable because they're
a little bitter.
they're like powerhouse, bitter, unbalanced. But with time, they turn into
exquisite.
these beautiful
They're exquisite.
experiences. I just don't know if with time, these are really going to, have such a high peak after a certain number of years.
Just because they're so smooth right off the bat and you're getting really nice flavor, you worry that that'll dissipate over time.
So I have a question. Like we experience all these different flavors within a cigar. How do tobacco leaves get those flavors, right? Is it that when they're aging them, like, for a lot of cigars, we'll taste the dried fruit, or are they being infused? Are they being kept in the
No.
barrel?
They spray the
infused.
leaves with tobacco scent.
Apricot spray.
No, but the thing is, where's that flavor profile
Well,
coming from?
I think it's the easiest
sun.
kind of metaphor that I can come up with is with the different varietals in the tobacco plant. And let's just focus on Cuba because there's only one plant in Cuba. There's only one real region in Cuba where they're producing these plants. There's really not much different from
No.
one farm to another aside from Care maybe or
We've talked about that, right?
TLC.
Every marca gets the same product. Cohiba gets something a little special that most other marcas don't get.
Just the Bejique.
Yeah. So I think
It's the soil. It's the soil. It's the sun. It's the environment.
But you
I
have to
mean,
also understand the blenders know what every strain of leaf will provide you from the point of view of flavor. And if you look at the plant, like you were saying, the most intense flavors are at the top because they get the most sun, right? And as it dissipates and it comes down the plant itself, that's where the mastery comes in.
But I think that my easiest
blending.
metaphor to come up with is how many recipes and how many varieties you can make from just eggs, sugar, salt, and call it baking powder, baking soda. You can make 1,000,000 different combinations of things that taste different, act different, age different, and I think the same thing goes with tobacco.
Agreed.
I think you have very, very simple ingredients and with minor variations, as the blenders are putting these leaves on the scale, blending them, marking down how many grams of each leaf and each blend and where they're putting them inside the roll. Those things are making significant differences in how they taste, how they age, and how they smoke.
And by the way, these cigars that we're smoking right now, they were introduced in Portugal.
Really?
That's where they, first, released in Portugal.
Wow.
And the box, I just read, it was $112.
I want that price. I
Yeah.
want that price.
I think I paid like $200 for it.
Wow. Still.
About $20 a stick.
It's a good stick.
Yeah.
Nothing offensive about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it smokes good.
It's kind of simple to me.
When you look at the ash, it tells you about the construction. It's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, these are definitely well constructed. I would assume that it's because, it's an early release, so they were really focused on this early batch of cigars coming out. Hopefully they stay this way over the run of the cigar. But
What's
it's performing
the
really
box code on this?
I believe it's SUL, April 23.
That's way out in there.
Yeah, which is I think it's a provincial.
Yeah.
I don't have my factory code document up, but I don't think it's a mother factory.
This ruggedly handsome stick is tasting good.
Yes, it is, man.
So, boys, we're about halfway through here on the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales, the Hermoso number 4. What are you guys thinking?
So far, home run.
Yeah, I kind of feel like mine at the halfway point ish here. It's kind of picking up a little bit, little bit more spice. I think the finish is a little less muted for me, which is good. Like it's finishing better now on the draw.
Maybe a little bit of white pepper, just a touch, but it's not offensive to me at all.
There is a touch of spice there for me.
Yeah, I think it's picked up in a really good way. I do think about halfway through it starts to pick up in strength, like you're saying, and the flavor profile is getting a little more complex. Like I think I like the flavor profile in the first half, but I think someone said like simple or straightforward. I think now it's getting a little more character, which is nice.
I think it's earthiness that's coming in for me.
There's something about it though that I don't know if it's complex to me, but I think that mustiness or whatever that we're perceiving is age, or what our palate is telling us is age, whatever that is making it interesting enough. But I don't think it's a super complex cigar.
No, but I think like I'd be fooled if this had no band to think it's a Monty.
Yeah.
And Monty's that I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Would you say, I don't know if you guys remember, we did the Monte Cristo Edmundo, which I think was a little bit older than this, but it wasn't, I think it was a 22.
Now, at the halfway mark, it's smoking more like an Edmundo than a Monte 2, I think. And I happen to love that cigar. I do like the Edmundos, for me. For me, Monte 2s, it's that I get that cocoa and the dried fruit almost all the way through. That's dissipating for me. And I think what Senator said, for me, it's getting more earth notes and coffee.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this has a little bit more strength than the
Edmundo?
Edmundo.
That's my take.
Edmundo is a bit
Lighter.
milder, a bit muted. The flavors are not that distinct.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that with not much age on them, I don't think they perform as well as these do. And we've had that Edmundo that was pretty young. I think it scored in the 8s. But Edmundos with age, while much more inconsistent, are really, really delicious.
If you get a good one.
And I've had a couple after the podcast that were really, really good.
I know we have talked about this, but the Petite number 2, the Monty, that has so much flavor.
I have never had that. I would love to try it.
Hey, you never will.
I know.
I thought you have had
I've
it.
never had that.
Senator
Not ever.
Senator will give you one.
I'm coming over at Rooster's house.
Too bad that I smoked through all mine already.
Yeah,
Me too.
That's okay. I'm going
too.
to
I
camp
smoked-
out on
I
your
sm-
deck.
I smoked
Rooster.
them in Cuba, all of them.
So you guys, seriously, you guys got a box of fairly,
We split a
aged.
box. We
fairly
split a box.
aged.
2017.
Yeah, Petite number 2. So 2017 is a kind of hit or miss year for me.
See, Pagoda, they kept
Oh,
us out.
these were a hit. And we smoked them. We bought singles of them and
We
smoked
smoked it
them
right
there.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In Malia Cohiba.
Malia Cohiba, that's right.
Yep.
And then we loved it so much we wanted to buy the box, but they wouldn't take cash. And we thankfully found this really nice guy from Spain who put it on his credit card, and we paid him cash, and we were able to get it.
That's cool.
So how
Yeah.
are those smoking versus any of the younger ones you've had?
I've actually, that's the first and only Petite number 2 I've ever had. So I can't compare it to a young one.
Because I have young ones, and like a Monty 2, kind of in the past, they've been inconsistent.
I gave you one when we got back.
That's true. Yours were the 17s were very good.
Yeah.
my young ones don't smoke as well as those. Now, my young Monty 2s have been smoking really, really well.
And we've said that many times.
Yeah.
They've changed.
They've definitely changed.
Oh, yeah.
Think about a 2017 Monte Cristo number 2, how inconsistent those are.
Yeah, you don't like the whole 2017 year. We know that. But the 18s, 17s and 18s are awesome. 19s are very good too.
Yeah, I'll bring one for you next time, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Sure.
So I looked it up on our box code document.
Your kindness has come through.
I looked it up on our box code document. This is from a provincial factory in Villa Clara called Placetas. SUL is the box code, formerly UMR. Actually, I think I have some cigars with UMR box codes, which they brought in November 19. But yeah, it's definitely a provincial where this was rolled. So what are you guys thinking about the Aberlour 12?
I'm loving the pairing. I was about to say the whole experience tonight's really tasty.
Yeah, I'm very relaxed. It's I'm happy we did the Aberlour again. I haven't had this in a while. What's funny, I bought this bottle after episode 12 and I haven't opened it.
Oh, it's great.
You've aged it, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's Aberlour 13
I was going
now.
to say, this is 13-year aged. Even older, probably. It's 2 years now.
All right, folks, you can't age spirits in glass.
So we had a lot of listener comments about episode 99, which was the Oliva V. Lancero episode we did, specifically Senator trying to change his score, which turned into...
Wait,
not
he
only,
did that? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath.
You want to play that?
Neither do I.
It was a bloodbath.
And Pagoda was very adamant, thankfully, very, very sound in his opinion that the ratings can't be changed.
Yeah,
Well, I'm surprised you almost kind of
he
let
did.
him get away with that.
He was siding with Senator that
He
night.
was.
He was.
And we tromped on Pagoda's pushing of the decimals a year plus ago. And
We just, Giz and I, we like individual liberty. And so we were just a little concerned that the group was going too far.
No. You guys are tag team boys. All right?
I just like watching you guys yell at each other. That's what I'm in it for. So we got a lot of comments, including, and I'm going to pass around a gift that a Bostonian lizard sent us, who also said that he feels that it's time for us to draft formal lizard rules as it comes to the ratings because of Senator's dissension.
I like that.
I mean,
I knew you would.
I am the senator. I'm all for passing laws and writing rules. Let's do it.
Process and procedures.
Yes.
Process and procedures. I love
think
that.
we should.
It's a great idea.
All right. We're going to have
Should
to
be
write this all in
official
the lizard,
ledger.
the lizard scroll.
And the cool thing, you add that to the website, it kind of just, adds a layer of complexity to what we're doing here.
it.
Yeah, that's what we need is more complexity. So it says, so this Bostonian lizard sent us all gifts as
Cool.
he shared his opinion of Senator's dissension. And he said, these gifts are from a Bostonian lizard. Keep up the good work. Nice handwritten note. And boys, we have 7 fantastic custom T-shirts from our Bostonian
How does he
lizard
know
friend.
what size we are?
That's
Look at
beautiful.
that.
That is really
Wow.
beautiful.
Lagarto.
So he
Wow.
made custom T-shirts
Is there a
with
Lagarta shirt?
It's only for the internal so far.
That's
only for the
cool.
internal lizards, but it's a cartoon lizard in green with a cigar in his mouth with the word Lagarto underneath.
It looks
Very
handmade.
nice.
It
Very
is.
nice.
Yeah, he made them for us.
That's
That's
very,
very
cool.
nice.
Yeah, he's an artist. He's an artist.
Awesome.
Our
Awesome.
Bostonian friend. So I have 7 of these for us for Puba and Grinder as well. But it's so cool to get gifts from lizard
Oh, it's
lizard
incredible.
listeners, man. It's just, we talked about it on episode 100. I mean, it's just.
What's his name?
I was told not to share it.
We
I was
probably-
asked not
we
to
know
share
who
it.
I mean,
he
I
is.
just wanted to thank him.
You don't.
Oh, we don't?
You do not know who it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, whoever you are, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. Just in the PO box, just getting gifts. We have a lot of cigars coming up from listeners.
That's
We have
amazing.
a lot of spirits coming up that listeners have sent in.
Yeah, Gizmo's going to send you a Siglo 5 in return.
I will. No, I it's really incredible how the listeners have really rallied around the podcast and wanting to share cigars they enjoy that we haven't done yet, both Cuban and non-Cuban. Like I said, we have a run of cigars coming up that are all from listeners. So we really appreciate it. So thank you to the lizard listeners out there who are sending stuff into us because
Yeah.
it's just it's really incredible.
It's very heartfelt.
I mean,
it's awesome.
that's rule number 1 in the lizard ledger. Cigars are meant to be shared.
Exactly right.
That's right.
Just don't go on my tower.
All right. Guess we have the accountability hour coming up. Episode, 105?
This is part 3 of the accountability hour. So, speaking of Bam's Tower and Bam's home, which I've never been to because I've never been invited.
What the hell is this now?
Look what you just teed up.
What the hell is going on
I'm
here?
just saying, I've never been invited.
All right. You
I
know what I'll
know-
do?
Don't feel bad. I haven't been there. Either.
Yeah, that's not true, and you know it.
All right. What's
All right.
All right.
So I've never been to Bam's house, and we were talking as it's it's getting colder now.
Yeah.
We're moving into the cold months here, and we did our short smoke special, and we have another one coming up in February probably. What do you guys do when you can't make it to the lounge or you're not able to get here for whatever reason? What is your winter smoking setup like at home? What do you guys do?
I smoke in the garage. And I mean, I think it was 2 years ago that you and I, we both got that heater. Put
Yeah,
in,
you and I have a
and,
very similar setup.
it's the same heater.
Yep.
And, the garage is obviously it's closed from 3 sides. You open the door, let all the air out. In the summer, it's great. If it's raining, you can smoke there. If it's, if it's too cold, too hot, you can smoke there. You can put a fan if you want. And the wintertime with the heater on, it's perfect.
The 3 out of the 4 lizards have great garage setups.
So he's pointing
Fantastic.
to
Senator, Rooster, and Gizmo.
Rooster and
Very nice setups.
Mine will be set up this year.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah, so what Rooster and I did is we actually purchased ceiling mounted heaters that the electrician had to come and wire in. But man, I'll tell you when the winter
15
happens,
minutes.
15 minutes the garage it could be below 0 outside. And I have a fan pulling air out in a window like a bedroom fan pulling air out. It heats up in there so fast and keeps it so consistently warm. And you don't get those blasts of like super heat, then super cold, super heat. Like it really does a nice job.
Yeah.
It's got a thermostat. And I also have a parabolic heater if I don't want to use that. If it's just me, I just put that on and that works great.
That is nice.
Yeah, that thing will take the hair right off your legs.
And it
It's
has.
intense.
I did.
Yeah. So any listener that wants to know what that is, I'll put it in the episode description. The heater that Rooster and I got, but that was probably one of the best investments that I've ever made.
That's cool.
In my smoking situation was getting one of those ceiling mounted heaters. I used to rock the propane heater where you'd have the tank outside, run the line under, and then keep
Holy
the
moly.
garage.
That's dangerous.
No, but you keep the garage door cracked.
Yeah.
Keep the tank outside.
You're like building up a methane bomb in your garage.
You got to have good exhaust and you keep the door open. But I'm glad I moved away from that. It was
It's from his
definitely worth it.
ex-Met lab.
Heisenberg.
Gizenberg.
But you put like a couple of comfortable chairs and you have
Yeah.
a TV on the Rover.
Gizmo's
and you're all
garage
set.
is ruggedly handsome.
Yeah.
It is.
It's like the cigar.
Like the cigar.
Like the cigar.
Yeah.
Ruggedly handsome. Why do you say that, Bam? I'm interested.
Well, the walls aren't painted, but they're clean. The slab is not painted, but it's very clean. It's got the Rover in a corner, a couple of chairs, simple man cave.
Yeah, it works great for
Yeah.
me, man, in the
Yeah.
wintertime. And in the summer, I actually got a portable air conditioning unit from Costco that has a double vent out to the window. And man, same thing. It cools so fast. It was like $250. I use it to heat now when I don't want to
And that's
turn
a floor
on.
model.
It's a floor model on wheels.
Yes.
But you have to vent it out. I mean,
You
it's
vent
got
it to the window. I have a window.
condensation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you vent it to the window.
Mm-hmm.
But what's nice about it is it has cool, dry, heat, and fan. So
Nice.
it has all 4 options. So when like when I'm in that kind of, let's say it's 50 degrees out or 40, and I don't want to turn on the ceiling mounted heater unit, I use that, and it puts off a great amount of heat, and I'm
That's
very,
great.
very comfortable in there. But
Awesome.
in the summer, the air conditioning situation is great.
Yeah. And Rooster's garage has a beautiful carpet, an area rug.
Yeah, it's like an indoor-outdoor rug.
Yeah, very fancy.
Oh.
Nice wicker furniture with pillows. Very,
Very civilized.
Yeah.
Gotta be comfortable.
And then you got the Senator's garage, which is a hybrid of a lounge and smoking room.
How much?
Fully painted.
That's where we first
Monochromatic
started
all the
recording.
way.
Yeah, that's where we
Yeah.
recorded originally.
And he's got an entertainment unit on one wall
Yeah.
That's right.
with the
So
TV.
how much are you smoking in there these days?
He's not.
Not as much. I mean, for the summer, I much prefer to.
Well, since you had your baby,
Yeah, I mean,
you have not
that's
smoked in that
dramatically
garage.
decreased my smoking at home.
Mm.
I just feel like, when you especially just the demands of a child, like you just, when you have free time, you actually want to get out. It's like a big deal to leave your house, because you're there so much with your child. So for me, coming to the lounge, being more social while having a cigar, there's definitely been an increased appreciation for that. But in the summertime, I mean, I don't really love being in a garage in the summer. Like I there's nothing better to me than like if it's not windy, just like sitting out on the deck,
Yeah.
just like looking at all the beautiful nature. Everything's bloomed at that point. So for the summer, I've definitely spent any of my home smoking time out on the deck or the patio. But in the winter, I mean, I actually love when it's really cold and it snows, and I've got to like you take the snowblower like to do the driveway. Right after, almost every time, I just go in the garage. It's nice and warm. Light up a cigar. It's like the perfect reward after
yeah.
like doing something like that.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
earned it.
So I do love on like a cold night sometimes just having a cigar in there. It is great.
Yep.
So what are you guys doing? Bam, what's your winter setup when you can't come to the lounge? Do you put on a...
I have a side yard of gravel. It's a bed of gravel, 6 Adirondacks chairs, and a fire pit that everyone here has complained about.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
The solo?
So yes.
As long as you have enough solos for that many guests, it works.
It's true. It's
You
true.
have 4 guests, 4 solos.
So for those of you out there listening, if you're buying a solo, you've got to get the Yukon. So I have a buddy of mine that has a Yukon. It's a bigger model than the one I have. It's 3.5 feet in diameter. It throws off enormous heat.
It does?
It does.
Ah.
And I've been on his patio, a friend of mine, his patio in the dead of winter. It's fantastic. Fantastic.
When you say dead of winter, like what's the cutoff
I was like
temperature
60,
wise?
We're
60
talking
degrees.
No. We're talking 11:30 at night, cold.
Really?
Cold.
Like how cold?
Teens, single digits.
I can't believe that.
It's
I
happened.
don't know about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How much were you drinking?
A lot.
Yeah.
Well,
So Pagoda, what's your plan for your garage this year? You said you're gonna fit it up.
Yeah, I'll set it up.
we're
The
sending
way I look at it
carpenters
is,
over.
Yeah, whatever the outdoor furniture I have, I'll just bring it in
Mhm.
for the winter and get a rover and set everything up. I know you send me all details about the rover.
By the way, about once every other week, I send Pagoda all the rover items that he needs: a TV, the
Cart.
cart. I send him everything he needs.
How often?
About twice a month. I have now.
It's a form of harassment, by the way.
He needs to get it together.
He does.
Lizards
does.
help lizards.
That's true.
No, but that's what I need to do. I just need to click on it and just get it. So I think it'll be
easy.
set up for this winter.
It's an
But up
easy-
until now, I've just gone to other lizards' garages and
Mhm.
chilled.
Are we taking bets on whether this is actually going to happen?
The Pagoda accountability
'Cause
hour.
the challenge is not only ordering it, but then Pagoda's got to set it up.
That's right.
That's the problem.
I'll take
Do
the
you-
over
do you know,
on
I haven't
ordering
even-
it, the under on installing it.
That's what a subcontractor's for.
But
All right.
by the way, I haven't even said the humidity of the thing for.
Oh, come on.
He doesn't even have a hydrometer
Oh, my
for the other levels of the
There
tower.
needs to be an accountability hour.
Oh,
for
This is
Pagoda.
I
unbelievable.
bought it about 2
Thank
years,
you.
a year and a half
Yes.
ago. 2 years.
He bought a Sonos Move, and I'm over in his backyard. I'm like, "Why? Where is the Sonos Move?" He's like, "It's plugged in, but I didn't set it up. I can't get it to work." I'm like, "What? What are we doing?"
By the way, Senator, you really helped me out that night because it did work. And what happened is, the following weekend I had a poker game at home, and we couldn't figure it out.
Oh boy.
Listen, there is nothing easier than a Sonos.
It's called Bluetooth.
There's nothing easier than the Sonos speaker.
Listen, I don't have the tech gene. What do I do? As an Indian, I don't have a tech gene.
That's odd.
I do have
Very.
to say, we've been a big proponent of the Sonos Move as the best outdoor speaker, period. They just came out with the Sonos Move 2, which of course I'm obsessed and like an idiot. I ordered, and obviously I don't need it, but it's really good. Like
Is the sound quality better, or is it just
is.
longer battery life?
No. So the original Move is just like a mono, like one speaker basically. This is stereo, and they have them like kind of positioned to try to create more immersive sound. It sounds better. The like bass is even stronger, which is hard to imagine.
That's
'cause
the hard thing in a small speaker is bass.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but that's the regular Move. The bass is serious for that size speaker. It's even more pronounced in the new one. Honestly, the audio, I didn't think it could improve because it's like just for the form, the size of that, it's like how much better can that really get? It's really, really good. And the battery life's 24 hours now on top of it.
24 hours on one charge.
One charge.
Wow.
Bring it to Cuba on the next trip.
It's a big speaker. That's the
So how
thing.
big is it? Is it like a foot long?
Same
Identical
size.
to the Move
Same
1.
size.
Yeah.
Okay.
But honestly, it's worth it. I mean, it's probably not necessary, but it's worth it.
Fit that in your luggage. Make it happen.
But for the rest of the listeners, this is the time you can buy the older version for cheaper.
Yeah, you get them. You get them.
you
on
get a
Amazon or-
$100 off.
And
Yeah.
for the crazy people like me that need to buy the new one and have the old one, Sonos gives you 15% off anything that you upgrade. So if you say
wow.
you have the one and you're upgrading to the two, they'll just take 15% off right there on the site.
Cool.
So you got to give them back the one.
No, you keep it.
Oh, you keep it.
Yeah.
It's just loyalty kind of
Yeah.
thing.
They're just rewarding your loyalty that you
Oh, nice.
keep staying in the hamster wheel. Hence, I have like probably 15 Sonos speakers throughout my house.
If only I'd known, I would have bid lower for Senator's move. But damn, I missed out on that opportunity.
So Pagoda, are you planning to heat your garage and all?
Yeah, no, I'll
You're
get
gonna get
everything
one of
set up,
those, one of the ceiling mounts like we have.
Yeah, and we also have an electrician we know now, so at
Yeah.
least I know.
There you go.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's
Rooster.
really important. That's the one thing in my house I don't do is electrical.
No.
I'll do anything else. I won't do
You're,
electrical.
Well,
you're doing your
this-
own plumbing? What?
Well, some minor stuff.
What?
Minor
Only-
stuff.
only
I
The
don't-
only
another-
thing I don't do is my electrical, but plumbing, I'm
Well, you
I'm
know,
a master plumber.
Only at
You
other,
put a sump
other
pump in last
people's
week.
homes,
Yeah.
he does pump.
I don't know that I'm too confident in your plumbing skills after my sink, but
I'm gonna come over, put a new sink in your place.
Oh yeah.
One of those utility sinks. High volume.
Yeah. So the heater that we are talking about for the garage has to be professionally installed
Yeah.
by a licensed electrician.
It needs to
because
go right into the
It's
panel.
hardwired into the panel.
Yeah.
And
It's
it has
a comfort zone, it's called.
Mhm.
I think ours is 10,000 BTU. It's a ceiling mounted unit. It's really fantastic.
So that thing requires a dedicated circuit in your panel.
Yes.
And
Right.
for everyone out there, if you've got a small panel, it's a few $100s to upgrade an electrical panel. You're not upgrading service, just a panel, which gives you more circuits.
Which is good just to, if you have an
Ah.
older home, to have the electrician get in there and look at it.
Absolutely.
Especially if you have kids, man, it's worth the investment.
Don't go there, Senator.
I was going to say, did you have your string lights hardwired?
No.
What happened with the string lights?
This was a running joke. We
I
were
did have
giving
it- go
Bam
ahead.
shit about not getting an invite over to smoke at his place. And every time we asked to come over, Bam said, I'm still waiting on the string lights to be done. we're like, why do we need string lights to
All
sit
right.
there?
So
It takes like 8 minutes to set up string lights.
Exactly.
Well, I didn't have an outlet out there, so I converted a fog light or a security light. I took that off. There's power there, so I converted that to a quad outdoor switch. I needed that to plug the lights in.
You couldn't run an extension cord.
No, fuck that. That's amateur hour. You can't do that. No,
Oh, gosh.
Like we would see it in the dark.
no. That's true.
So are you going to set up, are you going to have any sort of indoor smoking situation for the winter? Do
I
you have-
could. You know, I don't ever use my garage.
Yeah.
It's a single car garage. It's perfectly sized. It has a window.
That's great.
Yeah.
Window's huge because for me,
You need
putting
cross
that-
ventilation.
Exhaust.
putting the exhaust, even if mine's a
Yeah, yeah.
bedroom fan.
Yeah, you don't need
You know?
anything fancy. Like those little like double fans and it goes in the window. It's literally like $20 at Home Depot.
That's what you
Yep.
have.
and
yeah.
it just exhausts the air out. It's amazing.
Yeah. And when you open the garage, that cross air is important.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
it works perfectly.
And
Yeah.
the best thing when you do it and you're exhausting the smoke out, just like when your friends are coming by or when you like just walk down your driveway
It just smells
and
like cigars.
smell the cigar. I mean, like my whole street just smells like it's amazing.
I
This is not
remember
recommended
nights.
for our listeners in Canada, by the way.
No.
Do not do this because your neighbors will
Is that
call
why
it.
your neighbors moved?
I do remember nights walking down his driveway in our
Because
early days.
You smell it.
You can smell the cigars that you guys were smoking. It's very cool. And then when the garage door opens, that wafting of smoke, that comes like a tidal wave of smoke coming out. It's awesome.
Yeah, we used to show up there for the podcast. And
Oh, yeah.
Senator and a few of the guys maybe were there smoking prior to
Pre-pot smoke.
recording. Yeah, and you like as soon as you come down the driveway,
great.
it's like it's
It's
lizard
great.
time.
Oh,
it's
it's
lizard
great.
time. You know.
It's awesome.
So, boys, we're in the last third here of the Rafael González Corona de Lonsdales, Hermosos number 4.
What do you mean by the last third? I'm sorry.
He's got a half inch.
I'm really, really happy with this cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I thought for the price when I saw how small they were at a Hermosos number 4, Schwa Supreme from El Rey del Mundo. That's an outlier. All
course.
right, let's take that out of the equation. But for how small this cigar is, I was a little disappointed thinking like, man, are we going to even get 45 minutes or an hour out of these cigars? Is this going to smoke as, like a up and half Corona or something does?
But it's packed.
But it's
Yeah.
packed pretty densely.
Dense
Yeah.
cigar, and it takes it. You got to take your time with this thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually still very good.
Yeah, and I feel like there's value here.
Yeah.
I think for a Cuban cigar smoker who doesn't want to spend $20, $30 on a cigar and is looking for something in the winter that
Mhm.
smokes, pretty reasonably. And if you need to put it down, it's not going to break your heart. But
I have a question.
this is great.
Would you hand this to a novice cigar smoker?
I don't know.
Not for that
Good
price.
question. Probably not. I think just because the way the cigar looks, it looks very rugged and rustic. So that person might form an opinion of the cigar, but at the same price point, there's some other very good choices that
I was thinking from the point of view of the way it smoked. It smokes like it's a pretty serious Cuban cigar, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for me,
Surprisingly.
the appearance, I wouldn't be. I mean, a novice cigar smoker doesn't know any better, so
No.
like the appearance to them, I feel like it would look like any cigar. I mean, it's lizards like us that are very particular about the seams and all these little things,
And critical.
right? But the flavor profile is what
all right.
I'm not sure is ideal for a novice cigar smoker. Like, I think so many Cuban cigars where they're very easy to enjoy and accessible to a novice smoker is like they're mild to medium, so many of them. And I do, and like the flavor profile, the notes, they're pretty light. They're not like rich or heavy like some New Worlds can be. I do think, I mean, this is just the notes like cocoa and earth and some of these things like this. They're just richer, deeper flavor notes than I think like a true novice cigar smoker might immediately
Yeah.
appreciate.
I totally agree.
So I would be a little bit hesitant.
I think if we smoked this cigar early in our Cuban cigar journey, I think we've had to dig a little deeper tonight to enjoy the flavor that the cigar is putting off. I think, to Senator's point, I think when I was a novice Cuban cigar smoker, I don't think this cigar would have been interesting to me at all.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's come through developing a
Of
palate
course.
like we all have.
Yeah.
Not that we're experts, because we're not. We've just smoked a lot of Cuban cigars and we know what we like and we don't. And I think we're finding little things in the cigar that kind of touch to former cigars that we've had.
Yeah.
But
It's reminiscent of a lot of different cigars.
I don't think on its own, it doesn't have its own thing.
Mhm.
You wouldn't have
know?
appreciated it.
Exactly.
I agree.
In
Yeah.
the initial early journey into the
Right.
Cuban cigars, maybe.
Which I think is a testament to the complexity, if you want to call it that, for what we're getting here tonight.
Again, I just don't think that a novice cigar smoker or someone who doesn't smoke Cuban cigars a lot, I don't think that they would appreciate this cigar. And I'm not saying that it's a weird kind of thing I'm trying to put together in my brain. I don't think this cigar is above anyone. I don't think it's special.
Mm-mm.
I don't think it's advanced. I just don't think it offers enough interesting flavor to
Yeah.
capture someone who's.
But it's,
Honestly,
Does that make any sense?
it does. I'm
I'm
trying
having
to-
difficulty
so
kind of mapping it out.
I think, most cigars are an acquired taste, and you have to acquire the taste over a journey of smoking various different cigars, New World and Cuban. I think that's what this cigar requires. Someone that smoked a bunch of cigars for a few years and understands how to interpret it.
Yeah, I
but
just
it's
think there's a lot of
impressive.
nuance here.
It's
There's a lot of
impressive
nuance.
how good it's smoking.
It's an impressive little cigar.
From a 2023 box.
Yeah, man.
So
For
there's some
20
merit
bucks.
to that.
For
yeah.
$20.
Yeah.
And I got to say, the Aberlour 12 still, even in the home stretch here on the cigar, the Aberlour 12 is really working very well.
I could use a refill.
Ah, I'll pass
Yeah,
it
let's
around.
pass it.
I can't touch it.
Rooster, can you give it to the boys?
Can't touch this.
You can just wash your hands after.
Can't touch this.
I gotta say, ever since the cigar prank on Rooster, I love this just still healthy level of animosity between Rooster and Pagoda. It's amazing.
Look at Rooster's face.
I've been very quiet.
You're formulating a plan.
This silence has been deafening.
I've seen them. I regret what I said about the La Gloria Cubana Turquinos when we did that episode and saying that anybody can go out and buy them.
Me
Because
too.
I think out of everything I've ever said or we've ever said, I've gotten more emails saying, dude, what the hell? I can't find them anywhere. And they've been gone ever since. And I feel bad about it. So I have not had difficulty seeing or finding these, but I haven't purchased them in almost 6 or 8 weeks now. So I don't know. And I don't know that, again, having gotten this box when I did and looking at them, I was almost like, shit, like, where do I put these on the calendar for the Lizards? Like, is this going to be a good cigar tonight? You know, because this marca is not one that is celebrated by really anyone that we know.
No.
On any of the groups.
It's true. I mean, I've never heard someone say the words, I love Rafael González. I
Yeah.
mean, not once.
It's true. That just made me laugh because it's so right.
So true. But the funny thing is, I feel like years ago, I used to see these pop up everywhere. And I never was interested. You know, I didn't know anything about this brand. I didn't really respect it very much. So, and it was so affordable. I mean, I think Rooster said like these were cheap years ago.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I wish I would have tried this years ago because when they were so cheap, like sure, for an everyday cigar, I would have thrown this in at some point.
At that
Oh,
time,
yeah.
everything was cheap. When you can buy a D4 for $12, and why would you
Dude,
buy a Rafael
I know,
González?
but this you
Dude,
probably could have got
exactly.
for like
$5,
$7. Yeah,
six,
five.
six,
Like,
See,
seven, yeah.
What's funny about you saying that is I actually have 2 boxes of the Panatellas. They're very, very small. 2 boxes. I got them for $100 for 50 cigars
Oh my
as
God.
as like an add-on to an order at I Havanas years ago. And they've been in the bottom of my tower ever since. I've not even opened the boxes. I'm like, I'm just going to let these roll for 10 years and maybe I'll try them down the road. Never even open them. This is making me want to do that. Like,
You should try one.
never even smoked one of them, you know? But the problem is I think, and they're filling the gap with this cigar, there was a hole in the line of size. There was no kind of Robusto-ish size in the line that I think would I'd even be remotely interested in because I'm not really a petite Corona
Yeah.
Panatella smoker.
But the Hermoso's fine.
But the Hermoso, it works. You can slot this in somewhere. And I think tonight is a good example of that. But yeah, your point, I mean, I never think about Rafael González. Ever.
I
I love Rafael González. It's so
RG.
So speaking of buying Cuban cigars, boys, I don't know if you guys have seen this, but there's been a significant, when I say significant, like double or triple the amount of seizures by United States Customs and Border Patrol of cigars coming in from
Sorry,
overseas.
I thought you meant like medical seizures. I was like, well, what are we talking about? Jesus.
This is a cigar podcast.
Dr. Gizmo over here.
Yes, sir.
No, I've seen a lot of folks panicking about
That's scary.
their shipping, their tracking numbers getting caught up at customs locations as
Really?
they're coming in. They're shipping them in, and I'm saying from like every retailer. I've seen it from at least 4 or 5, and it seems what's happening. So this is a warning to listeners out there: be careful. Do a little bit more research. Obviously, make sure you're purchasing authentic Cuban cigars. Number 1, okay. Number 2, kind of do some research on the forums that are out there. And see what the experience has been with various retailers, because it seems like they're red flagging certain retailers. I don't know if it's the ship from address. I don't know if they've just put a mark on, certain regions or certain countries shipping certain size boxes coming in. But it seems like a lot of folks are losing,
Wow.
incoming shipments. And it also seems, this is the compounding effect of that, of course, the retailers starting to slow down or stop their guarantees.
Really?
Yeah. So there's quite a few retailers now. A lot of the major ones that we shop with still guarantee shipment. So if it gets seized, you either get a reshipment or they'll give you your money back. But there's quite a few now that have no guarantee anymore. Once it leaves their facility and they give you a tracking number and it's active, it's on you to deal
You're on
with
your own.
customs,
Wow.
which is scary, of course, given the price of Cuban cigars right now. So, and that also then puts me into the question for you guys, because I saw this come up as well. Has anyone in this room even been buying Cuban cigars? Because I have not.
I have recently bought, 2 boxes of that one cigar that you turned us on to, and
Which one?
Schwa Supreme.
Ah.
2 boxes, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then prior to that, I was stocking up on things I was running low on. All Cuban cigars, no issues, no nothing.
But that was from
Thank
a
goodness.
domestic seller, or
was from My Havanas, right?
Yeah, what's from I have,
Yeah.
which I love buying from. We all do.
Yeah, they're great.
Never an issue with them.
Yeah, they're an excellent retailer. The question I have, because I've been thinking about it, I just haven't been, aside from the podcast, sourcing cigars for us to smoke. Obviously I think we're all pretty fortunate. We have a pretty good stock of cigars from the last the COVID years buying, but I just haven't been buying. I kind of browse and I look, but I'm not pulling the trigger as much as I was.
Yeah, I mean, for me, yeah, same. I mean, I do browse on Bond Roberts or some other sites,
You?
but I
No. I thought you were on a freeze. I thought you were done with them.
I
Well,
thought you
that's what I
owned
said,
Bond Roberts.
I browse. But I look for sellers that are within the U.S.
Yeah, it's
instead
smart.
of,
It's smart.
instead
Yeah,
of
taking the
Europe
risk.
somewhere.
Honestly, when I first built my collection of Cubans, all of my purchases, 90% of them were from domestic distributors, domestic guys that we know that have a great stock and good cigar lists. That's really the way to go.
I took the opposite approach.
You did, yeah?
90% of mine were from sites, and then 10% were like harder to find things that I can only get through some private sellers in the
Interesting.
US.
Yeah, I've kind of moved my buying, even the stuff I'm purchasing from the podcast. I'm trying to get stuff that's domestic, even if it comes with a little bit of a premium, just
Yeah.
knowing that
It's worth it.
when I get a tracking number, I'm going to actually receive the product. Like, it's just spending that kind of money and then potentially losing those cigars and having to deal with, even if there's a guarantee, having to deal with it. They make you wait 30 business days, which ends up being what, 45 or 50 actual days. You're looking 2 months before there's even a reship. Some of these retailers take 30 days to get the box from where they are to you.
Depending on where they are.
There's one thing if the cigars get confiscated and you get that letter in the mail, but it's another thing if you get a box through customs and there's a blade through your box.
Yeah, which
The
a lot of guys have
cigars,
been getting.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, they cut the cigars.
They
right in
open the
half.
box.
And they continue delivery, so you're
Yes.
punished.
Yep.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
You just take like a box cutter to the cigars.
ruin the cigars, and they retape them with Customs and Border Patrol tape, and they send them to the house.
Wow.
Because I guess they're viewing that as easier than having to fill out the paperwork, which they do when they have to seize something. That's a formal process, through the government. They have to actually file that.
I'm getting
They have
goosebumps
to
right
file
now.
it. They
That
have to
is
send
scary.
it to global entry, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
I
travel
resent the
privileges.
implication,
Yeah.
Back to New Worlds for me.
which is the benefit of doing a Cuban 1 week and a New World the next here, is we've discovered so many, New Worlds that you don't have any of those problems, that are really, really reasonable. I mean, think about we talk about episode 99 with that Oliva V Lancero. I bought a box of those
Incredible.
on Atlantic. I got them with VIP for like $5.50. Like,
That's right.
that's a quarter of the price of this.
It's incredible.
The cigar we're smoking tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The value you can find there. So I guess the warning out there to listeners, to people who are purchasing cigars, is just add another layer. If you don't have enough already, add
Yeah.
another layer of
So that's it. For
Curiosity.
for guys and gals that are getting into the whole Cuban cigar hobby, I feel for them. It's tough.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's tough. I mean, my only advice is just if you're going to buy in small quantities now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like so sad to think, like I was talking about on 90% initially when I was stocking my tower.
Oh, I know.
Came from these sites. I mean, I would order like 10, 15 boxes in one order. And it was amazing. You'd get like 4 or 5 boxes that
It's
would
like
show up on
Christmas,
your,
bro.
literally.
it's Christmas.
It was
It's
incredible.
an incredible feeling. A
It was
volume of
amazing.
cigars. Like, it was awesome.
And you didn't have to worry. I mean, they were just coming through left and right. Now, I mean, I've only placed an order for Cuban cigars, maybe one order in the last 6 months.
Mhm.
And it was a 2011 Up and Anahados box that just quickly popped up on I Have. And
Yep.
so like I obviously had to pull the trigger on that. But I ordered just that one box.
good advice.
It got through perfectly.
It's
the
good
shipping
advice.
was actually
Yeah.
insanely fast. I placed the order on a Monday and I had it in hand the following Monday.
wow.
I've
7 days.
That's
never,
amazing.
ever had that fast shipping
Yeah.
out of I Have. I mean, it's crazy.
It's good
Takes
advice.
longer from California sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you're doing a box or two at a time, I think that's great advice.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about it, Senator, is that it seems like the United States Postal Service has actually gotten a little more efficient or faster with delivery. It's just the customs piece of it, I think, has also gotten quote unquote better, in that they're picking more stuff off and they're finding more cigars, which is just a real tragedy, because there's a lot of folks out there that are losing hard-earned money, and these retailers now are having to increase their prices to pay for the boxes that are lost. So even though there's a guarantee, we're all still paying for it.
It's true.
They're effectively paying for all those lost boxes and the prices that have gone up as much as they have. So
Yeah. There was a recent article where domestic cigar purchasing has gone up, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if how difficult it is to get Cuban product has anything to do with that.
I think the Cuban prices are playing into that.
Yeah.
Price is a big factor.
Yeah, price is a big factor. And
And
with
risk.
with inflation too, and how much harder it is to get everyday items and how much less spending money, people have, there's less disposable income to throw into an overseas retailer to get Cuban cigars. Yet you're having to do that kind of unfortunate math equation in your head of risk versus price versus availability versus, are you actually going to get these cigars in your hand and smoke them? Is the stress worth it?
Yeah.
Nope. I'm just kidding.
And that's all for today.
Yeah, so that's a warning to our Lizard listeners out there. Just add another layer of caution on your purchasing, even when you're purchasing for a from a known authentic supplier.
Yeah. There's a huge advantage with New Worlds that I feel that you can buy singles.
Yeah,
You can go to sites, you can try on different stuff.
Yeah.
And it's great because you can buy a fiver, you can buy singles, you can just,
That's true.
you can go deep.
Yep.
All right, boys. So we're coming to the end of our evening here with the Aberlour 12 and the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales. Any final thoughts here before we move into our ratings?
I think overall, a very nice, well-rounded experience. Great cigar.
I agree.
No complaints at all.
What's shocking to me as an overall comment on the cigar prior to rating it is that the second half, for how young it is, the second half was actually quite a bit better than the first half for me, which which is a really nice thing. Usually it's the other way around. Certainly with something this
The
young.
initial notes were very good. Right on the light, it was really delicious.
Yeah, so I think both were very good, just different.
Yeah.
The fruit notes that you get in the initial half, let's say, was fantastic. I'm about an inch away, and I'm getting really beautiful, deep earth notes, coffee, and it's still quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
No sharp ends at all.
I really enjoyed the first third. And then the middle was okay. Then the last third it picked up in strength.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So let's start with the Aberlour 12. Let's do our formal liquor rating. Bam, you're up.
This thing is a 9. No ice, pleasurable, no issues at all. Delicious, easy drinking. For the price, 9.
Okay, Pagoda.
Yeah. Well, this is a tough one. I'll rate it as an 8. I really like the Belvenie. And, I think subconsciously I've been really trying to evaluate between the two. And I kind of agree with Senator's comments that it doesn't have as much, I guess, body. It feels a bit lighter. It feels like a little sweeter kind of a drink. It's very pleasurable without ice. I myself didn't put any cube of ice. It was really good, and it really complemented the cigar really well. So it's an 8 for me.
Senator.
Yeah, I think I'm with Pagoda. I'm a solid 8. I really like Aberlour. I think the 12 year is probably one of the best values that you can get really of any 12 year. It's hard to find the 12 year anymore that's $50 or less. So I think it definitely deserves credit there. I do really enjoy, we love anything in a sherry cask, and this is as sherry forward of a scotch I think that exists, period. And so I really love that. The only reason for me it's not a 9 or a 10, it just doesn't have complexity. So I do appreciate in everything really Balvenie makes, especially what Macallan makes. You get malt. I think you get at least 3 to 5 flavor notes as you're enjoying it. This I think you get 2, maybe 3. And so for me, this slots in as every day at the lounge watching a football game. I'm going to have several drinks, maybe not just one. Happily reach for this. If I'm going to have one drink and I want something with some complexity that's going to really leave an impression, then I might pull from Macallan or Balvenie. So it's definitely has a place. It always has. I have several bottles of this at home. I stock them certainly here at the lounge every now and then. So an 8 and still a strong recommend.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a 9, and I'll tell you why. Everything that he just said actually pushes me to a 9.
Me too.
In that for me, I like that it doesn't have as much body, and I think for me it pairs really well with Cuban cigars. Like I think about some of the more, let's say, medium Cuban cigars that I smoke on a regular basis.
Mhm.
I think this. I'm actually kind of mad at myself that I haven't even thought about this
It's true.
Scotch in almost 100
It's
episodes.
true, man.
Almost 2 years. I purchased this bottle after that, and it's been sitting on my shelf since. And I'm kind of irritated with myself that for a $50 Scotch, for how well it pairs with Cuban cigars, like it does give you that sweetness. It is very sherry forward. It doesn't have as much oomph to it, and I think for me, there's merit in that.
There's huge merit, and it doesn't overwhelm the Cuban profile, and it's perfect for any Cuban cigar that you want to have with it. Now, with an Exclusivo, probably not. You
Yeah.
want that Belvini 12 or even the 14-year Caribbean cask.
Yeah, and I think about that the Padron 50th anniversary you did on episode 100. Like, I think this Scotch would be a little weak
I think so too.
compared to that cigar, right?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
an 80th. We always talk about the Padron 80th. I had one of those last night. I'm reaching for Macallan there.
Yeah.
But with the Cuban profile specifically, this Scotch is perfectly in line.
I can
with
also
that
see
smoking
I do
experience.
see the 8 rating because the versatility is limited in that way,
I
right?
agree.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's like, I flip what Senator said.
I agree.
Like, it works for me at a 9.
Yep.
So the Formal Liquor Rating Boys is an 8.5.
Nice rating.
That's a great
Perfectly fair.
Yeah.
And I do think the Cuban cigar point about how well it pairs is a really good one. I do agree with that.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to the Formal Lizard Rating of the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales. Rooster, you're up.
Yeah, so I'm kind of trying to compare like this cigar with some of the other new stuff that we have had lately, and the LGC Turquinos kind of comes to mind.
I
At the
mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, and the
yeah.
same similar price point, I think, right? They were around $20.
That was 25, I think.
I think there was a little more than
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
There's certainly more tobacco in
Yeah.
it, no doubt.
Yeah,
I
mean
think it was more. I think for a box of 10 of those, I
240.
think it was like 240, 250,
Yeah.
something like that.
I mean, that to me was a better cigar than this one. But although I did enjoy this in the beginning, and then the middle was kind of muted for me, and then the last third kind of picked up in strength. I don't know if I would like run and go and buy a box of this. I'm not sure. So for that reason, I'm kind of between a 7 and an 8. But I'm gonna.
All right, forget I made that face.
I'm gonna give it an. I'll give it an 8.
There you go.
Bam, pushed it.
All right, Senator.
Do you want to change it?
No.
I wouldn't
Nope.
dare. I wouldn't dare after what you went through.
For me, it's a solid 8. There was not a single point really in this cigar that I was unhappy or disappointed in any way. I'm shocked. I'm just honestly surprised. I never thought in my wildest dreams that a Rafael González cigar I would score an 8 and actually say I enjoyed. And I really did. I think the flavor profile is good. I like some of the New World-esque notes and the Monty-esque notes that you get throughout this cigar. The only thing I will say is for as much as there are rich flavors in this that I like, none are overly pronounced at any point where I'm like, I have to have another one of these. Like, I'm not pursuing it in the same way that certain cigars like really leave an impression with a particular note that is so pronounced that I really love. So I would not buy a box of these, but if someone gave me one of these, would I smoke one again? Absolutely. If I had if I was somewhere traveling in another country and I could get a single, would I smoke one? Sure. So for me, it's a solid 8.
So I'm in the same boat, 8 all day. I think the question I have, if I'm going to go between a 7 and an 8 is first off value, right? So I think the value's here, so that pushes it to an 8. I'm kind of hesitant with how this is going to age, like we talked about. I just don't see this improving to some sort of lofty. It doesn't have lofty potential for me.
It's hard to know that.
I'm just not sensing it. Puba always uses that word preview. Like, this doesn't preview in a way to me. Like the Turquinos, I think, is a cigar that, for how excellent it was when we smoked it young, it really, I think, previewed really, really well. So, it's an 8 for me. I did toy with a 7, but because of value, because of availability, and because of its freshness and how young it is, I think 8 is the right number. Pagoda.
Yeah, so the cigar was really, really nice and very pleasant. Meaning, I always seek this really pleasant flavor which is left in my, in my mouth, and it definitely delivered from that perspective. Um, while smoking the cigar, I was thinking, what are you going to go? I continue to rate the cigar as I'm smoking, whether it's 7, 8, 9, what I'm feeling. With this cigar, I think I kind of felt 8 continuously. Like it's one of the cigars which did not really deviate much from where I started. Um, Having said that, you know, I do understand it may be value for some, but I think for $20 you have a lot of optionality, meaning there's so many other options available for $20 a stick. I would rather do a Dominicano over this, right? For $20 a stick. Like, so I think if it was 15, maybe it'd be a different story. But for me, is the value really, considering it's a Cuban, maybe there's value, but is there value when comparing it to the overall, the cigar inventory? It made me think. But having said that, it was very pleasant. I think anybody who gets a stick of this is going to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
I did enjoy portions of it. Love the construction. Love the smoke output. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Bam.
You're welcome.
No, it's like you did this.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, friends.
Hey, I gave my peace of mind.
You're a polite guy.
Bam.
I liked this cigar from the beginning. Yeah, initially I was between an 8 and a 9, right to the halfway point. And you mentioned it did plateau, not in a bad way, but it kind of, I'm not going to use the word muddled, but it leveled off. But then I happen to like how some cigars, not all, they ramp up in flavor and a little pepper. This did it in a way where, for me, it was a little velvety and it wasn't offensive at all. I can't go to 9, but I think it is a solid 8. It's a solid 8 for that reason.
So there you go. Don't need to do the math on that,
Yeah.
boys. Formal Lizard rating is an 8.0.
Honestly, I would buy a box of these just to have, because I'd like a variety from time to time.
So let's look at some of the other ratings that compare to both the cigar we did tonight and the Scotch. First, in the Hermosos number 4 category, I of course want to look at the El Rey del Mundo Schwa Supreme. Actually, did not perform well. Episode 22, 7.8.
No, that's a
Yeah.
mistake.
New box.
Yeah, it must have been a weak box
Maybe.
there, because the ones I've had since then have been much better.
Can you call out who rated what on that cigar? Is that too much work?
I can.
I know. I gave it, I think, an 8 or a 9.
Everybody gave it an 8 except Rooster.
7.
He gave it a 7.
Damn you.
I think the Reggios I remember to be much better.
Yeah.
That was a 2015 box, I think.
Have you had any Schwa since?
Yeah, but there's, they have some age on them, so they're
Of course.
awesome.
Connoisseur
So
Corner.
this St. Louis Ray Reggios that Rooster just mentioned on episode 52 got an 8.8.
That was a great cigar.
That was a great cigar.
Great
I actually
night.
went out and got some because of that.
Wasn't that
Um,
older?
It had a little age on it for sure, yeah. So, Senator, when we were going through the history of Aberlour, you were mentioning some of the other sister brands that we've actually recorded on the podcast. You want to call some of those out, and I'll throw out the ratings?
Yeah, so they own Chivas.
You
We'll
had to
start
start
there.
with that one.
We'll
didn't you?
start there.
That's a 9 for Giz.
A 0.9. That we rated that. We rated that a 7.8. Chivas Regal
That's
18.
Terrible.
They also own Glenlivet.
Okay, Glenlivet, we did 2. We did the Glenlivet 12, which got an 8, and the Glenlivet 18, which I remember being excellent, a 9.3.
Delicious.
Wow.
Delicious spirit.
Martell.
Martell, the VSOP cognac got an 8.4.
Cognac.
Green Spot.
Green Spot, that got a 7.8. That didn't perform as well as I remember. You know why? Is we did that with the Opus X Perfection 888, so maybe
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah,
It was a
that
tough
We,
night.
we may
destroyed
need
our
to
palate.
we may need to revisit the Green Spot.
We were getting notes of tar that night. Did we rate Redbreast?
We did not.
No.
Okay, they own Redbreast. So we're gonna have to do that.
We did that very early on. We have to do a rating on that.
And I think those are the main ones that
Yeah.
that we've done at least so far.
So at an 8.5, it performed very well tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, boys, an excellent night. So an 8.5 for the Aberlour 12 single malt Scotch and a flat 8.0.
Bam is still smoking that cigar.
I like it.
He's got the
He's
roach
got a
clip.
roach clip. Look at
I
this guy.
can't say that I hate the cigar. It's a pretty good cigar.
And the Rafael González Coronas de Lonsdales ended up at a flat 8.0. An excellent night, boys. And we'll see everybody next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.